Guys, I'm glad you're up here because you are important. And I like to be able to talk to you in terms that I'm most comfortable with. And that's talking to your age group, because really while I'm kind of getting to be an old man and getting some gray hairs here and there, I just want to be like you guys. I don't want to act my age. It's a struggle for me. But also, you guys are really important. You're important for Jesus Christ. And he demonstrates that so many times. In fact, John and I this past week dealt with the podcast. And you know what all the adults around Jesus were talking about? Think about this, adults. They got to spend 3.5 years with Jesus. And they're saying, oh, look how good I am. Who's going to be the greatest? I'm better than you, and you're better. You're better than him, but I'm better than all of you. And they're arguing over who's the greatest. And you know what Jesus did? Is he stopped it all. In 3 times in the period of 1.5 chapters, he pulls children over to him. And guys, can you believe this? He says to all those adults, I want you to be more like these kids. So, I'm going to challenge these guys back here that I want them to be more like you kids, right? Rather than trying to get you guys to be more like them. Because we see adults on TV and things. We don't want to be like them, do we? No, not all adults we see we want to be, and some of them are even on TV, right? But stand up and look back here, would you guys? Because we're going to talk about 3 looks today. So I want you to start by standing up and looking back this way. Can you do that? Go ahead and stand up and look back this way. It's okay. You're in church. You're allowed to be happy, though, and you're allowed to stand up. Go ahead. There you go. Turn around. I know you've been taught. Don't turn around and look backwards. You might see something goofy. What do you guys see back there? Mommy? Okay. What do you see? See some people? Some good-looking people, Kendi? See good-looking people back there? Yeah? What about you, Ella? Good-looking people? I don't know. All right, go ahead and look back this way. We're going to talk about what we see when we look, right? Now, guys, the greatest thing we can do in this world to help ourselves and people around us is to learn about God, right? So if you wanted to learn about someone, you would start by looking for them, right? I noticed Anna right away. She said, I see Mom, right? She was able to spot her amongst all these people and spot her out because she's looking for her. Well, if you wanted to meet someone, right, Tanner and Ty and Tucker and Christian and Jace, you boys are going to eventually come across some young ladies that you would like to get to know better. And when you're in a big crowd of people, you're going to be able to spot that individual out of a big crowd. And that's the first stage of getting to know someone, right? So, if we were going to learn about God, where's the first place we would go? Anna? To the Bible. Yeah, so if I said to you guys, hey, here's who I am, here's what I'm about, the first step of getting to know me would be to listen to me, right? And that's really what the Bible is. It's God saying, here's who I am. In fact, in the Bible, we read that Paul said that faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God. Now, faith, right, we could define faith. It's, what? The hope of what's unseen? That's spot on. The substance of things hoped for, the evidence of what we cannot see or the unseen. That's exactly what you were going to say, right? Where's that from, Nene? Hebrews 11, right? Verse 1. That's what faith is. If we were to put that in our terms, it's seeing God without being able to see Him. And that faith of seeing God comes from the Bible. So I want to encourage all of you guys to look at the Bible. That's our first look. And we'll learn about God. Now, many of you, and you're taking notes down here, and some of your notes are rather creative, and some of them kind of even look scary sometimes. But you guys, I see your notes back there, and amongst all the creativity that you guys write down, you're picking up good information from the Bible. And I want you to encourage you to do that. Because knowing God is important in our lives. It's important to know who your parents are, right? Yeah, now a lot of people say a lot of things, but when Mama says something, we have to pay attention, don't we? Yeah, so it's important to know who our parents are. It's important to know who God is. So our first look is at the Bible. Now, everything else we're going to talk about is going to come from the Bible. But if you want to know God other than the Bible, where else might you look? Name? The church? Oh, there's a great answer. A preacher? It's kind of a sketchy answer. If the preacher wasn't your dad, maybe. But yeah, that's not a bad answer. It's Sharon. Is that what you said? Sharing. Oh, sharing. I thought you were talking about Sharon. So you could see God in sharing. But sharing, you see God in sharing? Naomi, who's the church? The people. Is anyone good looking in there? Huh? Is anyone special? Do you? You see anyone special?
Yes.
Yes, I thought you might. She saw someone pretty special in there. You see anyone handsome in there? Really good looking? Maybe a little bit of red hair on top of his head? Christian? Is that the best looking fella you saw in there? No? Yeah, you. Right? You guys see someone really good looking in there, don't you? Huh? Guys, this is important. And I know it kind of makes us uneasy to look in there and say, yeah, that's one handsome fella in there, right? All these guys up here are kind of squinting and looking away. But you were made wonderfully. You were made in the very image of God. You see, this is important for you guys to understand. And I was kind of poking at the boys a little bit, although it really wasn't a joke, was it? Because it was quite serious. That they're going to find young ladies who they find attractive, and they're going to want to know better. And young ladies, this is illustrative for something for you. You ladies, all of us, need to remember our value. But in particular, I think you young ladies need reminded the most about your value. You are precious. You are important. God made you wonderfully. And you shouldn't ever accept anything less than what's deserving of that. And I'll explain a little bit further why I'm talking to you ladies, but we all need to understand that. You are incredible. Now, how many of you have chores at home? You have chores at home, Tanner? Yeah? Tucker, Dalen. Who doesn't have chores here? No chores whatsoever. You ever have to pick up your own toys? Never. Never. Not once? Is this truthful? Not once? He doesn't have to pick his own toys up? Lies. I suspected. Don't forget. We've got our own little fact checker back here, right? Even the smallest of you have to pick up your own chore or your own toys. You have chores. Well, I want you to think about this. You say, oh, man, I don't want to do chores. Here's something incredible about chores. They signify that you are important and that you are significant. Anna, does our cat do any chores, anything useful around the house? He kills mice outside. Let's clarify that. He is quite the hunter, right? But that's not a chore. It's not something we ask him to do. Here's something that's important. You see, the older of you two probably have way more chores than your younger siblings. Yeah, more responsibility, right? Christian used to get upset with us. He'd say, I have more work to do than my sisters. And I'd say, well, you also get to do a lot more, right? Those weekends with Papa Ray, should we bring those to an end when your sisters are at home too? Now they've been older and go with Papa Ray too, don't they? But with chores is value. Here's what's important. We don't expect our pets or the vases on the shelf to do anything for us. They have value, but not near your value. God saw so much value in you, he gave you a task. That means he trusts in you. Now, if he didn't know that you were worth the value of the task he was going to give you, he wouldn't have given you that task. He made you special. And you guys have tasks. Now, it's important that you know how special you are, because if not, you will settle. Right? How many of you know what I mean by settle? Yeah. How many here are okay with C's in school? No one wants me. Christians, he's kind of like this, what means, yes, I am, but I don't, mom's behind me. I don't want whacked, right? Ooh, your mama's a school teacher. Yeah. If you're a C student, you're okay with C's, right? But I know someone in my household that doesn't accept C's, right? And when she gets a low grade, I'm not saying she'll never get one of those. When she gets one, she's furious, right? She says, I can do better than this. And you guys need to understand that no matter what the world tells you, no matter what even your parents tell you, no matter what your friends tell you, and we'll talk about real friends in a moment, you are worth the very best. And God thinks you're worth the very best, because God gave the most valuable thing in the universe just for you. And when you understand that, you will understand that you can achieve great things. That means, ladies, that when the time comes, Naomi's that close to it, right? And we start to think about dating someone, that you don't settle. Whoever's taking you out will treat you with respect and treat you the way you deserve to be treated, or you'll give them a big boot on the bottom side. Because you're worth doing that. Right? Now, there's going to be friends who tell you otherwise. There's going to be friends who are in the process of not believing they are worth the best things in this life. And they are going to be destroying their own lives, and they want nothing more than to destroy yours. They're not friends. You deserve better than that. Because Jesus understood when we were low that he could make something better out of us. You see, Jesus gave you the most valuable task in the face of the earth. It's starting already. Because we're talking about looking at all these people back here, but one of the things you'd notice if you turn around and look back there is all these people are looking at you. You have an impact on them, a tremendous impact on them. Jesus is using you already, and guess what? Someone else is trying to use you already. Everyone for their own purposes. Jesus' purpose says you are valuable, that you are worth the most precious thing in the world. When you set your mind to achieve something, you can achieve it. Don't settle. Don't settle in any aspect of life, because Jesus says you are valuable. When you look in there, what you should see is value. Oh, no, did I? Oh, no. The preacher messed up. He forgot the most important prop. I made a special trip to buy Band-Aids last night. And they're sitting on my desk at home. What are the Band-Aids for? Was that Tucker? I had my back turned. All right, Tucker, it's a great question. So we're going to have to use our imaginations, right, to see these Band-Aids. I was going to give each one of you guys a Band-Aid. I'll do this next week. When you have a wound, what do? Do you cut your finger off? No. Why? That would make the wound bigger. You're right. And what else if I cut my finger off? Would it be of any use for me? No. In fact, I would be less than what I was before, right? I couldn't pick anything up, especially if I cut them all off, huh? Yeah, it'd be a terrible challenge, right? When we get hurt, we don't just whack something off, do we? What do? We put Band-Aid on it. We try our best to hold still while Mom puts all that stuff that stings and hurts on it, right? In the long run, it makes it feel better. Here's what I want you to know about yourself. Just because you have wounds, just because you make mistakes, just because awful things take place in your life and you make very bad decisions, doesn't mean you're worthless. It means you need a Band-Aid and you need to heal up, right? So if you have Band-Aid today, you would put it on to remind yourself of that the rest of the day. So go ahead and put that Band-Aid on there. You only need 2 fingers to put your Band-Aid on there. All right, so when you look at yourselves, you see value, right? And you see something worth healing. All right, Tyler, you've been so good. I'm going to need your special help. Can you do that for me? Come right up here, would you? Stand right up there. Look through there and tell me what you see. Nothing. Are you sure? Nothing at all? No. Nothing. Oh, you see people. They look small or big? Small. Are you sure? They look smaller or bigger than they would without those? Bigger. Oh, so they do look big. Bigger than they would otherwise. People look big in there, don't they? You seem to be enjoying this. Is this fun or what? Tanner seems really big, he says. All right, that was a perfect illustration. Good job. Go down there and now lead us right into our next point. Because when we look at people, we should see them as really big, right? But you know what we're prone to do? When we look at people and they're really big, is to see their faults. It might hurt their feelings. Good point. You see, I can look back at your Aunt Ella, and I can see that not all of her hairs are where they're supposed to be, right? When we look at people and they're really big, we can see their shortcomings, right? But Scripture says, Galatians 6 and 10, that we ought to look at other people. We ought to look at other people's things, not just our own, so we can help them out. We're also told that we are not to make other people worse, but that we are to, can you guess? Help them out. So if I had a second Band-Aid to give each of you, you know what you would do with it? No, not your own wound. That was the first one. You'd give it to someone else. See, here's how we see God. A, we look in the Bible. Secondly, we look in the mirror and we see our own value. We see our own challenge and what we are supposed to do. And thirdly, we look around at all the opportunities we have to help other people. You see, when they're big, we realize they're bigger than me. Means that Jesus looked at you and saw you as bigger than himself. And my challenge is to look at each one of these individuals, to look at you guys, and to see you as bigger than me. Tanner looks good when I look in there. He looks bigger than he does if I don't use these. But you know what that means? It means he's important. Right? Yeah. So guys, where do we look? Sum this up for me. First.
Back there.
Yes, we did look back there first. That's not what I had in mind, but you're right. The Bible. Who do we see in the Bible? Jesus. God as well, right? Where else should we look?
We should look up in heaven.
Yeah. Where else do we look, though? Who said that? We look in the mirror. What do we see in the mirror? Value. And what else? Yeah, ourselves. We see that sometimes we have to bandage ourselves, right? And then where did we look? Back there. And what do we see? People. And people are way bigger when we look through them, at them through this, aren't they? But we don't magnify their mistakes. We see opportunity to help them. Now I want to ask you guys a question. This is going to be our close. Maggie just can't wait to get up here and be with you guys. She's growing so quick, it won't be long. Now, here, I'm going to ask each of you, what's one good thing that you can do to help someone else this week? Now, I'm going to hold you to it, so I want you to think about it a little bit. There's hands up back here, so I'm going to start back here and work right around. Kenny, what can you do to help someone else? Help people. Do you have any specific ideas? No? Do you think you could help your little brother? Yeah? How could you help him? Say that one more time.
How can we go feed?
Yes, that is the best idea I've heard so well. I want you to make sure you do that. Ella, what are you going to do to help someone?
Give the old people some food.
Give the old people some food. Just out of curiosity, so they can live. Just out of curiosity, how old is old? How old do you have to be old?
26.
26. Give someone over 26 years old some food. Good idea. I'll come right up to you guys. Do chores. I'm going to need some specific chores.
I don't want to give specifics.
I'm going to need it out of you.
Dishes.
Do the dishes. Did you hear that, Mom? Nay. Help Debbie do her homework. Good idea. All right, Anna. Help Daddy make his sermon. You just did that. Good job. Debbie. Think just a moment. Just keep thinking. Tanner. Need some help? What about, you've got a little sister, right? Is there anything we could do to help Mom with her? She ever cry at home? Do you think if you played with her, that would keep her quiet for a few minutes? She likes Tyler better. Or Tucker. Well, we'll ask Tucker, what are you going to do to help? Make a cake and play with sister. There's a motivated young man. All right, Ty, what were you going to do? Help make pie. Who's making pie, Mom?
No one.
Who are you going to help make pie? If you need need help eating that pie, I can help you with that. So, are you going to help Mom with her cooking? Okay, good idea. What you did a couple of nights ago. What are you going to do this week to help her? What about clean up after dinner?
Clean after yourself.
He's got lots of ideas for you, Tanner.
Oh, do that too.
You going to help clean up after dinner?
Yeah, and clean your Legos off all the plate.
All kinds of ideas for him. You didn't have so many when I was talking about you. What about that? Clean up after dinner, or you have something better?
We always clean up after dinner.
Well, that's a good help. Are you going to do that again this week then?
We always do it every night.
Good. Well, that's helping someone. See, you've already got the habit made.
Yeah, we do it after dinner.
Good.
And start playing outside.
Yeah, and then start playing outside. That's helpful sometimes too. How? Because it moves the noise from inside outside.
Outside is bread.
All right, Evie.
Compliment someone when they're having a bad day.
Compliment someone when they're having a bad day. You going to do that this week?
No.
You think you can find someone that's having a bad day this week? Okay, I bet you can. Daylin,
Feed my cat.
feed your cat.
She's always yelling at us.
She's always yelling at you guys. That's what cats are. You've heard cats. All right, you're the only one I left out. You gonna help someone this week? You gotta be an example. Always, okay. Didn't want to leave you out. All right, guys. So remember how valuable you are. Be willing to invest in you because God invested in you. Right? And always remember what you can accomplish. God wouldn't give you these great tasks if you weren't capable. And the way you can start this week is by following through and helping someone else. I'm going to challenge you adults, each one of these kids, pick something they're going to do to help someone else this week. Some of them didn't take much prodding. Some of them took a little bit more. How much prodding would it take you to do something good for someone else this week? They've provided an example, or going to provide an example this week. But ultimately, we have the greatest example, don't we? Of someone who emptied himself and gave himself completely for us. For each one of you guys, for each of us, for all of you, and everyone's around. If you've not, in return, dedicated your life to that great Savior, to the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, then I encourage you to make that decision this morning. Whatever stage or step of faith that you are at, we would be happy to walk alongside of you and help you as you go forward. But start by making that declaration. If you're subject to the gospel call, then please come forward as together we stand and sing.